to the Mock the Week. I'm Dara Breen. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Andy Osho and Miles Jupp, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of Defence Secretary Liam Fox and the Prime Minister on a recent trip. But what does FSRC stand for?
Is it, in fact, the four words that describe the pair of them? Feckless, spineless, reckless, clueless.
No, it's not.
Is this Liam Fox's way of making Cameron forget the whole thing? Is it Fox slips Rohypnol into coffee?
Is it Fiver says the recession continues?
Is it outside the window, frankly, Stevenage requires camouflage?
Is it Fergal Sharkey and Richard Clayderman? I haven't got my glasses on, to be honest.
Is it a professional qualification? Are they both fellows of the Society of Right Cocks?
So we're just going for abuse now, are we?
Is it Frank Spencer and Roy Castle?
Not recognising them. Somebody tell them who they actually are and we can save a lot of time.
OK, is it Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles?
It's none of these... If I can give you a clue, it's not just two names of any random people that begin FS and RC.
Quite simply, is it Fox's sake resign? Come on.
Is it Frank Sidebottom and Rita Cooley?
It's not! Two people.
Facebook status, relationships complicated.
OK. Please, I'll give you a clue. F stands for Fox.
Fox scandal rocks Conservatives.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Very good. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Fox scandal rocks Conservatives. This is the news that Defence Secretary Liam Fox has been forced to explain his conduct following allegations that his working relationship with best friend and former flatmate Adam Werrity broke the ministerial code. Dr Fox faces a storm over the affair and has apologised to the House. Why is Dr Fox in trouble?
He's in trouble because he has his best man, his best mate, has been using a card which says advisor to Liam Fox. And you're thinking, if he was genuinely an advisor to Liam Fox, he is the worst advisor ever, because his first bit of advice should be, you should be having nothing to do with me. I'm really going to knacker your career.
What's his name?
Adam Werrity.
It's very difficult not to say that as Adam Werrity. All day I've been doing it like he's Elmer Fudd. I'm Werrity, Adam Werrity. Where was the fox? I am Adam Werrity.
But he's been taking Werrity to meetings with him, and I suppose the worry is that will spread through government. I mean, imagine if David Cameron had a useless bloke that he took to meetings with him.
Wouldn't it be great if all of this had come to light because someone would be going through Fox's bins?
Fox has been doing that classic thing of acting all surprised. Well, there appears to have been some wrongdoing. You know, he seems surprised that Werrity was there.
I'm beginning to suspect that Fox actually thought Werrity was his imaginary friend.
Surprised that the rest of us could see. What? You can see him? Can you see the giant rabbit? Forget I mentioned it.
How does he explain his presence at meetings? He's meeting, like, Sri Lankan trade delegations, and they're going, hello, you're whatever... And who's he?
Are they
going,
played by Mickey Rooney?
They are.
Hello, we from Sri Lanka. We don't really know what people from Sri Lanka sound like. This is foreign.
Nonetheless had a meeting with the Secretary of State for Defence and went, who this guy? And he went, he's a friend. OK. And that was fine. And then what do you do? Sit at the end of the couch quietly. Don't mind me, I'm Werrity.
I think that's just the noise he makes.
Werrity. No, it's me. I'd imagine his catchphrase is, I'll just be here. And then occasionally he's leaning forward and going, do you have another Jaffa cake? And the Sri Lankans going, oh, no, Jaffa cake.
Jaffa cake. We know here on Jaffa cake. Strange foreign cake.
If they go, oh, well, and then they go into the meeting and you can hear every time the door opens, oh no, Jaffa cake! They're furiously Googling Jaffa cake. They invented Jaffa cake from first principles. Jam! What jam?
Just there stuffing his face.
We can only speculate that this is the way the meetings went.
Liam Fox has set up his own investigation at the Ministry of Defence into his own conduct. I hope he asked himself some pretty tough questions.
Yeah, because he's basically got his mate from the MOD to investigate himself. So I'm thinking, this guy or whoever's doing the investigation will not be allowed to find anything wrong. If they do, they're going to wake up in Guantanamo, aren't they? They're being surrounded by 4 Asian lads from Birmingham going, at least you know what you're in here for. We've been here since we were 5.
What kind of places was he there? Where was he meeting Adam Werrity?
He met Adam Werrity in places like Dubai.
Yes.
And the people seem surprised that he may have, you know, embarrassed Liam Fox, but he is Liam Fox's best man. That is what best men do. He's basically just extended the best man speech over a number of years. Liam Fox was lucky when he turned up at this meeting in Dubai that, in fact, he was fully clothed, not handcuffed to the desk, and covered in foam.
Do you have any shaving foam?
Jaffa cake?
Jaffa cake and shaving foam?
I think you just can't get rid of him. He's one of those friends that just comes along whether you want them or not. He was his best man. I bet he was there on the honeymoon with Liam Fox's wife thinking, I really can't do it without him in the room. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? We'll carry on.
Do you want to say hello to the boys and girls? No, I'm depressed.
Do you know why...
If you hadn't got that joke in, how long would you have kept the carrot in your pocket?
It's been there since last series.
We've all got work for our best man, haven't we? I mean, who was your best man?
It was Ed Byrne, but I'm not saying that he got paid.
He's never appeared on Rock the Week, has he?
Independent role. He doesn't walk around as
There should be an inquiry into this, Dara. I think we should get...
What animal has caused tensions to rise within the Conservative Party recently?
Is it a cat?
It was a cat. Yes, it was a cat. This is a cat with its owner, Camilla Soria and Frank True. Any idea why May the cat was at some point?
Yes, basically, this was the whole idea that a judge had said he could only stay in the country because he owned a cat.
He being Camilla Soria, the man on
Turned
the
out it was obviously a lie, and it's important that we shatter that myth. Otherwise, in fact, everybody coming into this country will be trying to buy a cat because, in fact, they can stay here.
Yes, who told the lie?
Theresa May.
Theresa May, yes.
We have, in fact, 10 million cats already in this country, and they kill 300 million creatures a year, including 55 million birds. They are evil bastards.
Cats do show a level of commitment. When we had a cat when I was a kid, right, this cat ate a ball of nylon string. It was when it was about 3 years old, and the string unravelled in its stomach and came out in its poo, right? Which meant that whenever it pooed, it came out like a string of sausages. I was very young, but all I can remember every morning is my dad with a pair of scissors going... It's going to go on for months. I don't know, just lifted it.
I'll just explain it. Camilla Soria is a Bolivian who fought deportation after committing a crime.
He was up for deportation partially because he stole from Debenhams. And that's a bit unfair. You can't get more British than stealing and looting.
What did he steal? What did he steal?
He stole a porcelain cat.
He did.
One of those ones that can wave bye-bye to him. As he left at the airport.
I used to farm cats, and let me tell you, their eggs don't taste nearly as chocolatey as they look.
OK, and the points go to Mars, Andy and Andy! Now we play a round called Quantitative Teasing. This game involves Milton, Miles and Andy, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is our stand-up challenge. I launch a wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. Television. Who wants to come on television?
I'll take that one.
Andy.
Very good. OK, so I'm getting a bit fed up with how much reality TV shows are on at the moment. Like, The Only Way is Essex really just did my noodle in. The fact that they won a BAFTA. I mean, that's what for? Best foreign language film? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just imagine it. Oh, shut up, oh, shut up, oh, shut up, oh, shut up. And then underneath it just says, I'm incredulous at what you've just said. And then, you know, thank God now X Factor's moved away from the audition stages, torturing those poor people. You know, you watch them rock up in the early stages. Hello, what's your name? Gonorrhea! All right, lovely. And what's that you're wearing? Oh, it's a waistcoat I've knitted from my own pubes. All right, lovely. And the weird thing about X Factor is it's making bigger stars of the judges than the contestants. You know, like, I was watching Cheryl Cole on Piers Morgan's Life Stories, and I got really angry because I was listening to her talking about being in Africa and my fate with malaria. And I got so angry, and then I remembered malaria is a disease. It's not the name of another toilet attendant she's been kicking the shit out of. This. Look, if she likes it in black people so much, maybe she should go out with Chris Brown, see how that works out for her.
Thank you very much, Andy. OK, let's spin the wheel again. Subject is hospitals. Who wants to come in? Miles.
Hospitals. I can understand why some people think that they're a good idea. I really dislike them. I think hospitals are terrifying places to be. I've had several general anaesthetics over the last year. I'm terrified of all of these things. I think hospitals, they are basically they are grey buildings full of people who are dead, about to be, overworked, stressed out, or asking for change for the car parking facilities. That's all they... I can't understand, therefore, why, even now, even today, we have this thing where the idea that a nurse's uniform is considered sexy. Now, I've got no doubt whatsoever that lots and lots of nurses themselves... You should imagine some of them unbelievable creatures. But the idea... But the idea that the outfit itself is sexy. And yet, if you wander into a sex shop, either, deliberately, or, you might have some sort of job that involves touring, you've constantly got to go and ask directions in places. Still, people are buying nurses' uniforms as a sexy outfit. What is sexy about a nurse's uniform? Surely a nurse's uniform, that just screams hospital at you. Who's at home going, oh, I'll tell you what, darling, could you dress up as a nurse for me tonight? You dress up as a nurse. I want you to remind me of the time I had a length of my bowel removed. Would you do that for me? Would you? Of course. Go on, I'll tell you what, when you put that on, act like a naughty nurse. Go on, act like a naughty nurse. A naughty nurse is one that doesn't wash their hands. That smothers you with a pillow, having subtly encouraged you to alter your own will.
OK, that leaves us with Milton. Let's see what you can offer. Let's spin the wheel. It's travel. Away you go.
Keep Britain tidy. Chop off Norfolk and Cornwall. People from New Zealand don't like being called Australian, do they? Oh, no. What people from Britain don't realise is an entirely separate culture. There's a great big sea between the two places. What people from New Zealand don't realise is that we in Britain don't care. I've just come back from Holland. When I was there, I was in a fish restaurant, and the bloke on the table next to me began to cough, so I ignored him. Then he began to cough a bit more, so I still ignored him. Then he began to choke really, really badly, so in the end I stood up and I smacked him on the back really hard. Anyway, it turns out he was just speaking Dutch. That works with Welsh as well. You have to admire the... You have to admire the Dutch, because what they've done, right, is legalise drugs, and now there are far fewer people in prison. I suppose the next step is to legalise murder. There'll be far, far fewer people in general. Sometimes, though, it's difficult to know if you remember something or you remember the photograph of something. I think my earliest memory is of being in America, standing over an air vent and my skirt billowing up. Myself a very technical director here.
Well done. Boys there, the Midland Jones. Come on back. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Andy, which category would you like?
Sport, please.
OK, your category is sport. The answer is booze, blondes and dwarves. What is the question?
What is the worst Earth, Wind and Fire tribute act on the circuit?
Is it what were the news of the world after stories about when they hacked Snow White's phone?
Why did Gandalf go missing for so long in Lord of the Rings?
Is it what's under this desk?
What's under this desk and eating a carrot at the moment?
Ain't no carrot.
Is it what are the 3 badges they've introduced to stem the decline in membership at the Cubs?
Is it what is the most common mishearing of Dutch Prime Minister Boes Blondendorf's name?
Is it what was on the conveyor belt in the Generation game, Too Hot for TV?
Contents of the best ever Kinder Egg.
Is it things Ashley Cole's been sick on? We're based on facts, people.
Is it what are Carrie Fisher's main recollections of filming Return of the Jedi?
Is it name 3 reasons cited in the recent Cranky versus Cranky divorce case?
What were the 3 weirdest things that MPs tried to claim exclusive?
And you know the correct answer is?
It's probably what have the England rugby team been involved with? Or
That is
something
close enough.
like
That's
that.
absolutely fine. The question I was looking for is what might the England team be best remembered for after this year's Rugby World Cup? England's World Cup campaign came to an end on Saturday when they were knocked out in the quarter-final in Auckland by France in a 1912 defeat. They saw a number of on- and off-pitch scandals with the team's boozy night out at a club which featured dwarf throwing, attracting widespread criticism in the press. And unbelievably hilarious nonetheless. It wasn't a dwarf thing, it was leprechaun night.
I feel sorry for the dwarves. They've had it up to...
There were problems as well because one of them jumped off a ferry.
Yeah, Manu
Tuilagi.
Tuilangi.
Well, there's no end in there. If you want to...
No, it's his pronunciation of it, actually.
Oh, yeah, because you speak fluent Samoan.
I speak... Sorry, hang on. Why would I need to speak fluent Samoan? He's English.
Well, he says he's English, but he's in fact Samoan. He just owns a cat.
In other news, what might we be facing this winter?
Winter.
Yes. That is genuinely the big news this week. Apparently winter will be coming this winter, and we should watch out for that. Because it might come as a huge surprise to people.
They're worried about this lack of solar activity, because they're saying last year we had a very cold December, coldest for 100 years. A lot of our airports were closed, whilst, in fact, the airports in Alaska and Moscow were still open. So they're saying what we should get is a heated runway. And you're thinking, environmentally, that's got to be terrible. But also, it'd be dangerous, wouldn't it? If they're worried about all those birds flying up into the engines, think about it, a heated runway, there'd be cats curled up all the way around.
The other thing we used to do with my cat...
Oh,
Wasn't wait till it had a particularly big shit and do some skipping.
Yeah. But my parents used to take it for a walk. They used to take it for a walk on a lead, on a 30-foot washing line.
Is that what he swallowed?
Yeah.
Beginning to fit.
I always dread to ask this, where do they take him on the little walk?
Oh, we took it everywhere. We took it on holiday. It went up, it climbed Penny Ghent in the Yorkshire Dales.
Don't forget, this is on the end of a line. It wasn't that he didn't willingly want... Basically, you're climbing it and dangling underneath you. Is a cat going,
Did you ever get to a point when there was a washing line halfway into the cat and then halfway out, so the cat had basically 15 metres of... And then you...
Why have BBC subtitles come under fire this week?
Because they're wrong.
They do tend to be... Why do they tend to be wrong, though?
Well, the reason that subtitles tend to be wrong, often they're typed live by people who make mistakes. But I don't know if you've ever typed when the telly's on. It's very distracting.
They were saying, weren't they? They're blaming it on this voice recognition software. And one of the examples was pigs apparently like to nibble anything that comes into their sheds, including wellies. That's what was being said. And it came up on screen, instead of wellies, they like nibbling willies. That has nothing to do with voice recognition software. That is somebody taking the piss in the BBC subtitle department.
Yeah, there's any number of these. The Labour leader Ed Miliband has complained previously that he's been referred to on the subtitling as the Ed Miller Band. Viewers were so surprised to see that the famous religious leader visiting a local town was, in fact, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Ooh, call this a church? I don't think so.
I saw that one come up.
Yeah, instead of
That would be
crossing
great.
itself.
Yeah.
Ain't no bitch become priest in my church. The most famous example was during the Queen Mother's funeral, when what should have read, "We'll now have a moment's silence for the Queen Mother," read, "We'll now have a moment's violence."
I love the idea of
Just get it.
There's always, they can always use the deaf subtitly people, the deaf
Oh,
signy people.
you were doing that. I genuinely didn't know you were doing that.
People who are now going deaf signy people in the corner.
They're just doing that, are they?
No, that's deaf for blur, essentially.
I don't know if there's any version of the show that goes out late with signing. I have no idea. Maybe you can tell me. That'd be lovely. Please let that actually happen. What might we be tapping our elbow... Excuse me, I'll do it again, excuse me. Why might we be tapping... Ah, for fuck's sake.
No, see the subtitles coming up at the moment.
That's it. You and me are through. At the end of the points go to Miles, Andy and Andy! Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to read in the Bible.
And lo, they finally saw the sign that God had promised. You are now leaving Swindon.
But when they got there, the tomb was empty. "Rikes!" said Scoob.
Sodom and Gomorrah, twinned with Tyne and Weir.
And the children of Israel wandered round the desert for 40 years, until eventually Moses' wife said, "Are you going to ask for directions?"
And Eve did realise that she was naked and she was ashamed. But then Gok Wan said, "Look, work it, baby, you look amazing."
And Noah said, "If it carries on raining like this, we're going to have to eat the unicorns."
And Moses saw the burning bush and said to his wife, "I think you've overdone that bikini wax again."
And David smote Goliath. He meant to smack him, but he was using predictive text.
Eve! Eve!
fig leaves, not nettles.
And the Lord said, shit, I've made a wasp!
And Jesus saw a traveller in distress and said unto him, well, why don't you just leave Dale Farm and find somewhere else to live?
And the Lord said to Gideon, take this book and put it in every travel lodge.
Listen, this is really awkward. I know there's a bit of a queue, but it's just that I'm not a really big fan of fish. Oh.
There were only 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Never go to Lidl on a Saturday night.
OK, the next topic, please. Unlikely things to hear in a makeover show.
Welcome to What Not to Wear. A welly on your cock.
This week's Look Good Naked, starring Edwina Currie, is the last in the series. And was recorded shortly before Gokwan's suicide.
Well, we've started off by ripping up all the decking. Abandon ship!
We are going to give you back all your confidence and your dignity as soon as we hoover the fat out of your arse.
Michelle has got jowls, false teeth, and, in fact, a moustache. But unfortunately, we're here to do up her front room, not her face.
David and Jane wanted more space, so we've repossessed their house and they're living in the park.
Well, we've pedal-dashed, replastered and put new plumbing in downstairs, and now Anne Robinson is good as new.
Welcome to 60-minute makeup. Oh, babe, actually, that's going to take a lot longer.
If you want to feel better looking and increase your self-esteem, move to Leeds.
And today on Property Ladder, we're going to show you how to break into a property using a ladder.
You're obviously very sensitive about your weight, and you shouldn't be. Do you mind if I call you lard arse?
Well, Ian wanted a Renaissance look, so I've just set fire to a Catholic and taken a shit out of the window.
Talking of decking, who wants to punch Nick Knowles in the face?
Today on 10 Years Younger, we're going to try and squeeze 9-year-old Amy back up her mother's womb.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Chris here in Milton. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Andy Oshaw and Miles Jupp. Commiserations to Chris Allison, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. Thank you for watching. I'm Darrell Green. Good night.
All the Well Good bits from Series 2. It's Lee Nelson's Well Good show over on BBC 3 now. And tomorrow night, a show filled with bright ideas. QI gets inventive at 10. Next, the first interview with an MP jailed over the expenses scandal and new questions for the Defence Secretary in Newsnight.